when Twitter and these other large social media companies, these media platforms, social media outlets became really popular in the 90s and in the 2000s, it wasn't because people gave a crap what their CEOs had to say or what opinions their CEOs had. The people made these platforms, and these people went to these platforms because they had a service that they were interested in. They were technology companies. So Twitter had an application where you can follow people, you can see what they're posting, you can reply to it, and people were allowed to express themselves. And with the internet, allowed to express themselves more than they had ever had before. People were easily able to create Facebook channels, Twitter accounts, YouTube channels, and it was something that a lot of people wanted to do. Human expression. This is why it took off. It took off by we the people. And once again, people went there for the technology, not because they cared what the CEO's opinions were. If you go to McDonald's, one of the most successful franchises there are, and you go there, it's very simple. You tell them what you want, you give them the money, they give you what you want. Although sometimes when you get home, the apple pies aren't there and that damn shake machine's always broken. But that's what it is. Very simple business model. Now, Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, through our government, through our representatives, our representatives sent to Washington by we the people, have exemptions. They have protection from liability based on what people say. And this has been in place since 1996. So all they have to do is open up their platforms for people to post whatever. They're not liable. And that's how it is, how it was for a long time. But then you have these arrogant people thinking that they should be in the business of censorship. And here's Jack Dorsey. Here's what he thinks his job is in Twitter. Now, really, it's a technology company. His job is to make sure it's up and running. People can get there. There's good performance. There aren't any performance issue. So the platform is stable. It's reliable. It's responsive. That's his job as a technology company. And then he collects the ad revenue. Easiest job in the world. All this guy has to do is sit in his mansion and live his good life, and that's it. But no, he feels the need to put his opinion out on everybody. And here's what he thinks his job is. So, fact check. There is someone ultimately accountable for our actions as a company, and that's me. Well, no, according to your government protection, you are not liable for what people post. Please leave our employees out of this. Well, employees carry out the company directives. So there's a relationship there, and they're part of that company culture. We'll continue to point out incorrect or disputed information about elections globally. This is what this guy figures his job is. He thinks people go to Twitter because they believe in Twitter's information about elections. Really? Who joins Twitter because they give a damn what Jack Dorsey has to say? And then we're going to see more of this. And we admit to and own any mistakes we make. Well, are you going to admit to this one? Because this whole post is a mistake. But it gets further. This does not make us an arbiter of truth. And this is countering something Mark Zuckerberg said, that these media companies aren't arbiter of truth. But you can't trust Mark Zuckerberg because as he's saying that, he's got this committee of 20 people censoring people and deciding what posts should be banned. So he can't be trusted. Our intentions, so this is what he thinks the intentions of the company are, is to connect the dots of conflicting statements and show the information in dispute so people can judge for themselves. How many people join Twitter because they think Twitter is to be connecting the dots of conflicting statements? Who does this guy think he is, and what does he think his company is supposed to be doing? More transparency from us is critical. Who cares? So folks can clearly see why can see the why behind our actions. The why is because you take yourself way too seriously and you need to get over yourself. So let's see some replies uh, to this tweet. Dolores, people don't need you or any platform to guide us to connect the dots. We are quite capable of that ourselves. What you are doing and have been doing for a long time at Twitter is very transparent already. You and the people you allow to be hired support a leftist agenda, which they do, and it's obvious. And the thing is, you don't need Twitter to fact check or counter anybody because that's the thing about free speech and an open platform. If you post something and somebody disagrees with it and they have sources to back up their opinion, they post it and they put the links to whatever material they want. So with an open platform, you already have countering people making whatever statements. If you look at something Donald Trump says, you immediately see people arguing and countering. So how does Twitter figure they're even needed in this debate, even needed in this back and forth? Twitter is a platform. You are not a news organization. There's supposed to be a platform. That is the agreement of what's called 230. You are a communication platform. You are not a publisher. So before the internet, even before cell phones, when you had Ma Bell and you picked up the phone, the Ma Bell was not responsible for what you said. If you made threats, if you were vulgar, if you lied, if you conned people, it didn't matter. They weren't liable. Twitter and these other platforms, they're supposed to be a communication platform. They're not supposed to be involved with censorship. Now, I think a lot of this comes from they're a global organization. And when you look at the European Union, they require restrictions of speech. So you've had outside influences outside the United States influencing these companies to be into censorship. But European Union censorship is not something we want in this country or should be anywhere in the world. European Union censorship is disgusting. Not only is it hypocritical, not only is it fair and balanced, it never is. It's always used for political purposes. It's always used to silence dissent, and it is leftist, and it allows communication where you can criticize a certain religion all day long, but another religion you're not able to criticize at all. And I can go into the so-called European Union Rights Council and some of the proceedings to cases where they argued against free speech, where they said, oh, your free speech doesn't apply. So we do not want this as a global standard, and we do not want this in our country. We want to spread freedom of speech, freedom of expression. What freedom of speech is being infringed upon? Well, selective censorship. We've seen it on YouTube. I'm a small-time YouTube creator. I've had a video restricted. I've had a video downright, you can't find it, severe restrictions on it where it didn't violate any of their policies. So this is going on. If this guy doesn't understand that, I think he's been living under a rock. You applied a false fact check to the President of the United States of America tweet about voter fraud using CNN as one of your sources. Yeah, you should apologize and reverse that insane policy. Oh, and then this guy, Yoel Roth, this guy's the genius that Jack Dorsey is going to have head this so-called fact-checking. So where do we think, what side of the political spectrum do we think is on that's on his side? Yes, that person in the pink hat is clearly a bigger threat to your brand and feminism than actual Nazis in the White House. So, okay, the people in the White House are Nazis. So this leftist snowflake is going to be heading fact-checking at Twitter. Give me a break. Mad World, I think he's confused. I think we can all agree that out of everybody, the president of the United States needs to be fact-checked the most. Okay, so this guy's a free speech coward, in my opinion. The reason we can't agree is that you can't get to defend who is or who isn't lying. Yeah, who makes those rules? Who's determined that? Too often the left attempt to hide truths which are uncomfortable to them. A case in point is the racist nature of and history of the Democratic Party. I can deal with anyone. I refuse to deal with someone who has no facts to debate with and no name has the name call express himself. So okay, I hate Trump and therefore censorship is okay, I guess is what he's advocating. Agree, but you have to be honest and also show the truth about voter fraud. And in fact, that has happened, which is true. There has been voter fraud with mail-in ballots. Bring back Alex Jones. It's not up to you to decide what we think or believe. We all do own our research. Don't need fact checkers to decide for us. And fact checkers is already done by media outlets who reply with fact checking and links. So Twitter doesn't need to do this. Where do they think it's their job to do this? It's worrying because Twitter is supposed to be impartial. It's a social media network. They don't get to police what you should say. Well, they shouldn't. It's like going to Starbucks and having them saying you can only get a hot chocolate if Mike Tyson slaps you first. I don't know about that analogy, but imagine going to McDonald's and saying, I want a Big Mac, and them arguing with you. No, get the chicken McNuggets. You know, it's a service, and you're going there with expectations. This is how it works. Keep it simple. They're protected. It's the easiest job in the world. Collect your ad revenue and don't get into the censorship business. That's not how you became the platform that you are today. It wasn't through censorship. That's not why the people made you what you are. This is not your job to deconflict opinions. That is called publishing. You guys limit accounts, suspend accounts, and ban people without any accountability. You cannot call customer service. You hide in secrecy and never address issues publicly with interviews. Absolutely. What happened to me, I went back and they just said, without any explanation why, we're just going to severely censor your video. This wasn't with Twitter. This was with YouTube. Let's see if we have anything else. Yeah, just more opinions. That seems to be a popular thing. It's not your job. Once again, this guy thinks he's in the business of connecting the dots, and this is absurd. And Jack Dorsey, you are not the reason why people made Twitter what it is. They came for the technology. They didn't come because they were interested and gave two craps about your opinion. So, dear Jack Dorsey, get over yourself, you ignorant prick. Seriously. Anyway, this is Jim Wall. Thanks for watching. Until next time.
Cisco, do we have to leave all our good friends now?
Only until next time, Pancho. Adios, amigos.